Happy Monday, y'all. In Lippy fashion, the tripod's in the house. So I have y'all perched on my 10-key calculator. Y'all, I have been busy today. I've been in the garden. I'll be back tomorrow in the garden. I was able to get some more green beans canned. You know, like I said, a little bit at a time accumulates. This time I got 5 pints. So, oh Lord, there's a fly. Forgive me. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this little video. I don't know. My patience have worn thin with the heat. But I have enjoyed every minute of it. And before we get into the video, which will be short, I want to personally thank each one of you for wishing me a happy birthday. I turned 60 years old yesterday, Sunday, June the 8th. And I had a ball. My daughter and son-in-law and all 3 grandkids treated us out to dinner, a beautiful cake, and she was so sweet, that they put the 6 and the 0 tucked in a corner, and I'm going to insert a picture. But in the writing, it said, happy birthday, turning 30 twice. And I was like, oh, I love to read that. So I kind of didn't pay attention to those numbers. But they also gave us an amazing gift that I will share with y'all on the weekend vlog. You know, sometimes our weekend vlogs isn't always about gardening. So when we get to the weekend, I'll share our greatest gift, as they always do, because my birthday's the 8th. Buddy's is the 13th, which is this Friday, and our anniversary is June 16th. So, very busy week. Actually, 8 days. Very, very busy. But I'm going to get on to the video. Now, what I did is I just filmed little segments. Ignore that. I just filmed little segments. We're making dill relish. And this is a half batch to the original recipe. In the description, I'm going to put the original recipe. It is so easy, you just have to cut it in half, but I actually gave you the half measurements when I did these clips. So I'm going to insert my birthday cake, and then we're going to move on to the clips of making dill relish. And then I'll meet you back here. In this bowl, I have 4 pounds of cucumbers. These were measured before I removed most of the skin and I diced them. But I started off with 4 pounds. I'm making a half a batch of the original ball recipe. Now, using my Ninja mini food processor, I'm going to go ahead and pulse these. I don't want them just minced. I just want some smaller chunks. Okay, guys, I've got it all done. I'm going to see if the camera will pick up on it. You see, it's not just finely minced. It has a little bit of texture to it. There's a few chunks, some's minced, but this is the consistency that I like my relish to be. Because when you get a bite of it, you'll get a piece of, well, that one's too big, I'll cut that, but you'll get a piece of relish and you know that that's relish. Now, since we're working with half a batch, the actual recipe will call for 8 cups. So if you want to do a full recipe, you'll just double what I'm doing. But we have 4 pounds of cucumbers. That's how I weighed it. We have washed them, took most of the skin off, and we have chopped them. The chopping is to your desired consistency. I'm adding 1/4 cup of pickling salt. That'll be your canning / pickling salt. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of turmeric. Here's our 1 teaspoon. I covered our diced cucumbers with cold tap water. And I'm adding ice cubes. And now we're going to cover it and we're going to walk away for 2 hours. It's been a little over 2 hours And I did dump the cucumbers into a cheesecloth in my colander. I just put clothespins to hold it. Now we have to rinse this very, very well. You want to get all the salt and the turmeric off. You're going to have residual flavor, but we have got to rinse this very well. Okay, I've rinsed this 4 times. I balled up the cheesecloth. It's in the colander, sitting over a pot. Now the fun begins. You want to continuously squeeze every bit of the moisture out that you can possibly get. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Now remember, I'm making a half batch. Can you see all this liquid that I mashed out? I will say, use a tea towel, not a cheesecloth. Why I grabbed a cheesecloth is beyond me, but y'all can leave it down in the comments. That's happened to y'all before, right? Tell me a fib and say, yes, Lippy, it's happened. Now it's time to add all the ingredients. I've got a heaping cup of finely diced sweet onion. For this half batch, you need 1 1/4 cups. So I packed my 1 cup to yield me 1 1/4 cups. The full recipe calls for 1/3 cup sugar. Here's my 1/3 cup measure. I measured it half, which would yield me 1/6 of a cup. 1 tablespoon dill seed, 2 cups white distilled vinegar. You need 5%, or you can use white wine vinegar. I wouldn't use apple cider vinegar because it's going to give the undertone of fruity. I've allowed my mixture to sit 15 minutes. What that does is it allows those dill seeds to expand and they draw in the liquid, so you don't have these little hard pieces of dill seed in your dill relish. I've just found by letting this mixture sit 15 minutes, it actually swells those dill seeds. I've got my stove eye on a high medium. We need to bring this to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we will dial our stove eye down, and we want it to maintain a hard simmer for about 10 minutes because this will actually reduce and thicken. So we'll bring it up to that boil, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. We have reached that boil state. Now I'm going to decrease the temp so it will continuously simmer, but not rapidly like we are right now. And we're at this simmer point that I want. So you see it's just above a simmer. We need to stir periodically, and we need this to go for 10 minutes. In the meantime, I have my half pints heating up because this will be WaterBath canned for 15 minutes. The large pint that you see in there, that's my filler for my space. Now it's time to fill our jars. I want you to see how thick. And that's what you want. Now any residual liquid, I will top these jars off. So if the camera picks up, I'm about 3/4 full. That's where I want to stop because I will be topping off with the liquid in the pot. Now there is a few pieces of the relish, but I'm scooping out the liquid, and that'll yield me just enough because I want 1 inch solid headspace. You guys see the liquid? I'm 1 inch below the jar. Make sure you debubble well. Guys, it's very important that we clean the top of our jars. This is vinegar on a paper towel. Our lids are on. Now we're going to put our rings on finger tight. Don't crank down. All 6 pints are in the canner, and I did add an extra pint filler. This is just pint jars that I pressure canned with water, and I use them to fill the space up when I don't have a full canner. But we will water bath this for 15 minutes. Hey guys, they're out of the water bath canner. and I am so pleased. A lot of you are going to ask, well, why is it light? That's because this batch of, there's another ping, this batch of dill relish, I did use a carrot peeler or a vegetable peeler, and I did peel 90% of the skin off. If you compare this to my sweet relish, you'll see the sweet relish is much darker. That's because when I put the peeler on the sweet relish, I just peeled about half of the cucumber, making lines. And that's why this relish has no skin. Mr. Buddy prefers his dill relish without the green skin of the cucumber. So guys, it is exactly 5 o'clock. I have been at it all day. You know, Mondays is my busiest day. And taking the weekend off, having the kids over and celebrating birthday and really a lot of R&R. I mean, you still had to do your normal stuff, but I did spend the weekend with a cup of coffee in hand and sitting majority of the time. Oop, I love the sound of that. But this is how I do my dill relish. And like I said, it doesn't have the skin. You can totally leave the peeling, the skin on your cucumbers. Just wash them very well, which is what I do before I peel them anyway. Now I will make another batch of dill relish, and I'll take the cucumbers and I'll go, you know, I'll peel, skip, peel, because I give those to my daughter. And they like that darker green contrast. So this batch is really for Mr. Buddy, for his hot dogs, his sausage dogs, his tuna fish. He's the dill eater. I'm the sweet pickle eater. So I always make sure that he has his jars on the pantry shelf as well as I have my sweet relish. But I will eat dill relish. I'm not opposed to it, but my favorite is sweet relish. But I hope you enjoyed a small little tutorial. I know it wasn't a long video, but I wasn't going to forget you guys. And by the way, I shouldn't have said happy Monday. I should say happy Wednesday, because y'all will see this on Wednesday. So happy Monday and happy Wednesday. That way I'm covering my bases. But as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. And I will see you guys on the next one.